Hey guys, it's Laura Kate, and as of today, I have completed 3 weeks of my modified 75 hard challenge. Before I get into how things have been going, I just wanted to do a recap about what 75 hard is. So 75 hard is a program created by Andy Frisella where participants have to complete a bunch of tasks every day for 75 days straight. These tasks are 1. Completing 2 45-minute workouts, one of which must be outside, 2. Reading 10 pages of a self-help book, 3. Drinking a gallon of water, 4. Taking a progress photo, and 5. Sticking to a diet without any cheat days and without drinking any alcohol. If you miss any of the tasks on any day, you have to restart the 75 days, no exceptions. So I've made 2 check-in videos already, one after week 1 of the challenge, one after week 2 of the challenge. I'm honestly just trying to make a check-in video after every week of the challenge. But basically, if you watch my video from week 2, you'll know that I was really struggling week 2 because I felt like I had lost my momentum and because I just started a job, so I needed to make some modifications to my daily schedule. This week, I actually feel like I got into a groove. I pretty much completed the tasks every single day with no issues. I kind of feel like I'm just in a routine at this point, and these tasks are just things that I'm doing every day, and I'm not really finding myself having issues completing them. I didn't have any setbacks this week. I think in general this week was very much a success. I've taken progress photos every day, I've completed my diet without issues every day, and as a reminder, the diet that I challenged myself to complete was eating in a calorie deficit every day. So my workouts this week have not been quite as boring as they were the week before. I've incorporated some more running this week. And something that I wanted to talk about is the fact that I've actually been training for a 5K run, which is supposed to be at the end of July. So you have not heard me mention this 5K run up until this point because last week I thought that I just wasn't going to complete the 5K, so I just didn't want to mention it because I had to stop my training for a little bit. So basically, at the beginning of June of this year, I decided, what would be really fun? I should sign up for a 5K. And so I signed up for this 5K. It's supposed to be at the end of July. And throughout June, I was pretty consistently training for this 5K. But when I started 75 hard, I found it very difficult to maintain my training for the 5K. And the reason for this is that I kept getting injured because I didn't have any rest days. And if you go back to my video from week 1 of this challenge, you'll see me complaining about injury. And the reason why I was getting injured was because I tried to run 2 different times. And after running, the next day, I would still have to work out and do cardio and exercise. So I wasn't properly resting. And so it was exacerbating the fatigue and the muscle strain, and so I was getting injured. So I had kind of decided at the end of week 1 that if I was going to commit to 75 hard, I probably wasn't going to be able to continue training for the 5K. So last week in week 2, I had kind of not tried to run at all. I just did walks and yoga as my exercises for week 2. But this week, I actually tried to incorporate running into my exercises again and, see if anything's changed. So I had 2 running sessions this week. I ran twice, and I actually was able to do those running sessions and not get injured in the days after. So I feel pretty great about that. I still have a lot of training to go for this 5K. Even with where I'm at now, I still don't necessarily feel prepared and ready to run this race at the end of the month. When I started training in June, I was barely able to run for a minute without wanting to pass out. And right now, I'm doing a lot better, but I'm still not exactly where I want to be. I've been training in intervals of running and walking. I came up with a training schedule based on a bunch of training schedules that I found online. And basically, I was starting with, 1 minute running, 1 minute walking, repeated 10 times. And now I am up to 7 minutes of running, 2 minutes of walking, repeated 3 times. And I was able to successfully complete that this week. And I feel really great. This is, a very big improvement from where I was, just a month and a half ago. But again, it's so far from where I need to be. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to end up running the 5K at the end of the month, but I definitely still want to continue training because I am actually really enjoying running. But it's been just hard to prioritize both 75 hard and training for this 5K. So just to briefly touch on the water rule, as you know, because I've talked about this in my other videos, I modified the water rule, so I'm not drinking a gallon of water. I'm actually only drinking 90 ounces of water. I have found this rule to be honestly the most annoying. I was talking about in the first video how I felt like my body was gradually adjusting to 90 ounces of water, but like, to be honest, my body has not adjusted to 90 ounces of water. It's a pain. It's really more than my body feels like it should be drinking every day. If I was just drinking naturally, I wouldn't even drink close to 90 ounces of water. I really have to force myself to get this water in. And I always find myself at like 10 o'clock at night trying to like chug water. So it's not pleasant. It's like the water rule is actually probably my least favorite rule of all of them. I'm still using my trusty 30-ounce Stanley, and I actually love this thing. Like, when I first purchased it for myself earlier this year, because I just jumped on the bandwagon because everyone was getting Stanleys, I remember my mom was telling me like, what an absolute waste of money. That's so stupid. You don't drink any water. But now she actually said to me a couple of weeks ago, you know, ever since you got that Stanley, you've really been drinking a lot of water. So I think the purchase was worth it for you. So at least I have that going for me. Like, the purchase was justified. I try to have it with me whenever I'm doing a workout, whether it be a yoga session or a run on a treadmill or a walk outside. Carrying it with me is helpful. If I have it with me, I'm more inclined to drink it. I bring it to work. I got made fun of at work for having the Stanley and being basic, but what can you do? Something funny is that I will bring it with me when I go out to eat with friends. So there have been a few occasions when I've had to like really obnoxiously ask the staff at the restaurants if I can refill the Stanley, and I always feel ridiculous asking them for it, but like I want to be able to track the water that I'm drinking. So, but yeah, yesterday I was out with a friend at a sushi restaurant, and he took a photo of me while I was refilling my Stanley with a pitcher of water that had been provided to our table, and it's really embarrassing, but you know, it is what it is. To talk about the reading rule, I finished Financial Feminist earlier this week, which was the first book that I decided to read for this challenge, and I'm finally on to Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm really enjoying this book. It's very like accessible to read, and it's also just, I love the diagrams in it, and also the chapters are like honestly very close to 10 pages per chapter, so it's easy to complete for this challenge because I've basically more or less just been reading one chapter every day. I really like this. I would really recommend it. The thing that I found the most interesting about this book so far is the chapter where Clear was talking about how a person's habits shape their identity, but then their identity also shapes their habits. And this is like honestly a concept that's probably like quite obvious to anyone listening to this, but it was interesting to read about. So he talks about, for example, how a person who exercises all the time and leads a very active lifestyle is more likely to consider themselves like an athlete, and someone who considers themselves to be an athlete is more likely to be more active and work out more. It is interesting to think about how, you know, we really are a sum of our habits and what we do. So, you know, if we want to be a specific type of person, we just have to act like that type of person. Something that I have been struggling with this week is actually like body image, and I'll talk about that very briefly. Like, I don't want to make these videos just be about body image, but it would be disingenuous to talk about my experience with this challenge without mentioning it. So I mentioned in my first video that one of the, you know, big reasons for me doing this challenge was because I wanted to lose weight. And since doing this challenge, I have noticed positive changes in my body. For example, like if I look at kind of the composition of my body and honestly, like what I'm capable of doing now as opposed to what I was capable of doing at the beginning of the challenge, in terms of like yoga especially and running, I'm like very impressed with the changes that I've seen. But when I look at the number on the scale has changed very little, if at all. And I'm really in my head about that, you know, because I've just put so much stock in the number on the scale, and it's like I'm becoming a lot happier with when I just like look at my body in the mirror, but then I feel like that happiness is like diminished when I think about the fact that I don't see this number on the scale going down. And I find that like kind of sad. And I don't think that this has anything to do with the challenge whatsoever. Like, if anything, this challenge is not meant to be a weight loss program or a fitness program. It's a mental toughness program, which is something that I talked about in my very first video. So I think that this is just like a me thing. But yeah, it's something that I'm struggling with quite a lot, have been for years, probably my entire life. And it's something that I've been thinking a lot more about recently. I'm not going to share specific numbers in the same way that I don't really want to share my progress photos. Like, I'm thinking about maybe if I complete this challenge, sharing something at the end of the challenge to show my results. But I don't really know how to end this section of the video aside from saying that, you know, despite the fact that I'm not really seeing, you know, results on the scale as much as I would like, I'm seeing results in other areas, and I'm very happy with those results that I'm seeing. And I think that this is just something that I need to work on. And, you know, if you're kind of in the same boat as me, you know, doing this challenge is not going to solve all of your problems. And, you know, no matter how fit you are, I don't think that you can work out enough that you're going to solve all your problems with how you look. Yeah, I'm just like not being very articulate at the moment, and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to mention that. In any case, this video is getting quite long on my end. I've been doing a lot of like rambling, and it's been like difficult to honestly get the words out in this video. I don't know what the issue is, but I hope that you've enjoyed this update video, and I will see you again next week after week 4. Bye.